Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity Radiant Light. This is Sunday, September 18th. I'm Reverend Cherie Ruffo. We're starting our prosperity series today, as we do every fall. And today's topic is Prosperity is Your Inheritance. I'm excited. I love to talk about prosperity, and especially to look at it from this perspective. You know, a lot of us, when we think of prosperity, we think of it as good luck or, oh my gosh, something I was blessed by this happening. But do we really ever stop to think about the fact that this is truly my inheritance? And that's what we're going to explore today. And we're over the next four talks, I'm going to be exploring different aspects of prosperity. These are the unity principles, unity teachings, and based on the books that I have come across in unity. When I started with Unity in almost said 1889, in 1989, at the Unity of Honolulu, and I would go to attend church, but I didn't really start studying until about 2006. I I got divorced. 2008, I was working in nonprofit when the recession started. And a lot of things happened to me where I felt like my prosperity was ripped out from under me, really brought to my knees in many ways. And I couldn't understand what was happening. So when I first started looking to see who was out there, who could I read? First person I found was Catherine Ponder. And Catherine Ponder is 95 today. She's been a longtime teacher of prosperity and unity minister. And I read all of her books, and they're fantastic if you've never read them. But she really simplifies prosperity in ways with the Bible stories, with just the concepts around prosperity, that it's everything in our lives. And I have all the books still. I keep them in my library. I love them. Then I came upon H. Emily Cady, and she was one of the first unity writers with Charles Fillmore. She was a doctor back in the 1880s, and she has such an understanding about prosperity. And one her all-time classic is Lessons in Truth. And I put down chapter 1 because it starts out with this concept: is prosperity liberty? Are we in liberty or bondage? And a lot of the traditional perspectives, really talk about us being in bondage. Absolutely wonderful book. I actually have I highlighted so many things in her book that I got another of her books, and then I put the little tags in it. I had so many. So finally, I also have a third edition now, which is in Kindle, that I can highlight and mark up and do all the things I want to do. But many profound teachings. What I'm really, and then we've studied in the past, we talked about Reverend Edwene Gaines, her prosperity teachings, because we have to look at what the definition of prosperity is. It's and Edwene, I love how she breaks it down. She says it's bodily health. Prosperity is a viably alive, healthy body for this God being that we are to express through. She says it's relationships. Prosperity is relationships that are joyous, satisfying, intimate, honest, and nurturing, and ones that work all the time. Perfect definition. And we have to look at our own relationships and say, oh, do they fit into that? Or are there things that I can do to help that? Work. Prosperity is work that we love so much that it's work. It's not work, it's play. And as I always like to quote Marilyn Harper, she says it's plurk, play and work. And it's money. Prosperity is all the money we can spend. So yes, it's all these different things. And really, when we're looking at that, what we're not saying is that we've already inherited that. So for these teachings too, I reference Charles Fillmore's book, Prosperity: Spiritual Secrets to an Abundant Life. Wonderful, wonderful book. And the Prosperity Bible. I use that a lot because it has all the great teachings from the different writers and people who really who we've learned so much about prosperity. So we go back to the concept of, prosperity is my inheritance. And that can kind of trip you up. But let's look at inheritance. Suppose you got a telephone call or a letter today telling you that you have inherited $10 million and it's in California, so you're going to need to go there. And I pray that I would love for all of you to receive that phone call or letter. That's wonderful. But what would you do if you have to go to California to get it? What do you need what do you need to do to get ready to receive it? You might need to get a plane ticket, pack a bag, a dog sitter, a babysitter, but there's things you have to do to prepare to go to receive it. This is what I'm talking about with prosperity as your inheritance. There's things that we can do to be ready to receive it. Important things. And Charles Fillmore, in all of his wisdom, he says that the secret to true prosperity is understanding who you are. He's not saying it's your job. He's not saying it's how much money you have in the bank or who your family is or anything like that. He's saying you have to understand who you are. And part of that definition is you have to understand that this prosperity is your inheritance. Now, I was raised in a traditional church. And I was taught while I was growing up that I was not worthy. And I would say it each week in church, I am not worthy. And never really thought about that. But there was still the hope within the faith system that I was raised in, that even though I was a sinner, not worthy of good, that I'm still a child of God. God still loved me. Whew, thank goodness for that. And that belief system, carries through. But when I got to Unity in hey, listen to me, 1989, in Honolulu, I was asked to consider a new truth. I was asked to consider that instead of being a sinner, not worthy, but to think of myself as an expression of God. Ooh, think about that for a second. I'm an expression of God. You're an expression of God. That's so different from I'm not worthy. And I'm not putting down any other faith system, and I never would. But it was a big change for me. So I wasn't just a bad child of God anymore, but that I'm part of God. I'm an expression. I'm here to express God. How am I going to choose to do that? That's where I had to stop and really think about that. And I'm having my human experience right now. It took me a while to fully grasp, and I suspect that I haven't fully grasped it either, because every time I learn something new and go to a different level, there's a whole new world open of understanding. And I do believe that's our lifetime experience here, is that we keep growing. But the core, what I've learned, what my takeaway was, I was 23 at the time. What my takeaway was is that my very being, the core of who I am, is God. Let's breathe in on that. Whew, think about that. The core of who you are is God. How does that feel to you? It meant that God is not separate from me, because God is everywhere present in everything. That means we're not separate from each other either, because we're all part of God. So all the belief systems I had to that point started to fall away, melt away gently. And I started to understand the fullness of that statement. So if I'm a part of that core of me as God, then it would be true that the inheritance, prosperity, is my inheritance. Because God is only good, right? So there's no way I could believe this until I changed my definition of me, though. I had to understand, instead of me being not worthy, I had to move from being worthy. I think I probably ducked a few times in the first few months of that, waiting for the lightning to strike. And I also had to understand what that means when we're worthy, is we're pure in heart. How does that rest with you? That you're pure in heart. And then when I finally started to sit with it for a while, once I started, the resistance started to fade away because my old belief system, I was able to smile about it. Because think about that, going from being unworthy to being not only worthy, but loved beyond measure. expression of God. We can have times where there's appearance of lack of love or appearance of wrong. But the truth is, it's all about love. And that we're this expression of it. Now, my responsibility in that is what am I going to do to be that, as that expression of it? Because we have free will too. But what these teachings mean is that we're so much more than we ever believed. And not only that, that prosperity, this major principle in all areas of our lives, because it's not just money, it's so many different things, it's everything, is not an accident. It's my inheritance. Wow. So then it took me quite a bit longer, almost 20 years before I started really studying these principles. And reached a time where I was at a tough time in my life. But what I realized when this true teaching really started to settle with me, is that this is a lifetime adventure. I don't believe we're ever done learning. It's taken me a while to get where I am, but I also understand I'm a long way from being done. There's so much more to this. I'm also a long way from where I started. Being broke, getting divorced, and always being a victim of circumstances. I'd been brought to my knees back in the late 2010, not 8 to 10. I was in a place that I reached a place where I needed to do something different because what I was doing wasn't working. And I really started to open up to these principles, to these truths. And one of the things that Napoleon Hill says, this is Charles Fillmore, sorry. One of the things that Charles Fillmore says is directed faith makes every thought crackle with power. When we can take that faith that we have, the things that we know to be true, and we can direct them in our thoughts, our feelings, our actions, we can literally feel that crackle with power. Whew. And you know what? That gives us that hope. That gives us the knowledge that we can overcome anything, no matter what the outer appearances are. And it also shows us that within us, in every cell of our being, is this God layer that we can activate. I'd start by telling you a story, because as I've been using these principles in my life, I found that when I can take something and I can direct that faith with it, that sometimes things don't happen right away, or even sometimes as I thought they would. But sometimes they can come back later and I'll have that answer. Now, this cute dog here is a picture of my dog Pirate, who made his transition in early 2019. He's a Polish lowland sheepdog. He had diabetes. It was our love. We were brokenhearted when we lost him. And he, such a beautiful soul. And after we lost him, we took some time to heal because we missed him so much. But then eventually we felt the urge, because we love sheepdogs so much, that we wanted to get another sheepdog. So I found on the left here is this picture of Hejda. She was a Polish lowland sheepdog right from Poland. She was with a breeder in North Carolina, who actually used to live in a town next to me here in Connecticut. And I decided I'd mostly had rescue dogs. Pirate was a rescue, but I decided, I'd done rescue for 16 years and I really wanted to take a break for a dog and have the experience of a puppy, because I hadn't had a puppy in so long. So Hejda, the year-old here, Hejda, and I knew that that's the dog I wanted. I absolutely fell in love with her. And I talked to the breeder and she said, well, she's in our breeding program, but we don't know if she can have puppies. So I said, okay. And she said, but certainly if she doesn't, let's talk and see about, I can rehome her with you. So every day I looked at this picture and I just loved her. I fell in love with the picture. She's adorable. And I would see her as my dog. And I knew I kept tabs on her. Her personality was beautiful and all these great things happened. But in 2021, the breeder reached out to me and said, hey, Hejda is having puppies. And I know you've been waiting for a long time for one of those puppies. So you can have the first in the pick of the litter. So on the right over here, the top is Haji with most of you know him. He's a little over a year old now. He's the dog, he's her son. And we adopted him and absolutely in love with him. My Keyshawn, who's next to him, adores him, best friends. And he's been a wonderful dog. And so I let that prayer go and I say, hey, it came out a little bit different. I didn't get Hajda, but I have Haji. And it's beautiful. It's her son. So lo and behold, let's fast forward to Italy this summer, and I get an email from the breeder, and she said, Hage Duck can't have any more puppies. I feel that I need to, as much as I love her, I would like to rehome her with you because I know how much you love your dogs, because I'm not giving her enough time. She has several that are going onto shows and other in the breeding program. So she said, we'd love for you to take her. And that's her picture down on the bottom right there. She's going to be coming home with me when I drop my grandniece Hattie off in Raleigh in a couple of weeks. H will be coming home with me. Now, the point of the story was, yes, prosperity is my inheritance. I, back in 2019, 2020, put all of my focus into Hajda. I looked at her photo every day with thoughts and feelings and saw her as my dog. Well, the answer to the prayer I thought was Haji. But little did I know that Hajda would be coming to live with me. And that prayer was out there and it's been answered. And I'm not so sure if Dan was like, oh my gosh, 4 dogs, but he understands that the prosperity process here that was out there and that was my prayer. So there I was in 2008. That was my credit score. I was doing everything I could to try to bring it out of the toilet and having a hard time. But from that point on, I began to understand that these are my prosperity. These are the things that are my inheritance. These are the principles I can use, the tools I can use. And, fast forward to today, no, I don't have the lifestyle of the rich and famous. And I didn't even ask for that. That's not really I'm not going to say it's not my thing, but it's not where I'm at but I have a wonderful, amazing life. I have someone that I love dearly. I have a happy home. I love what I do every day. I have a company and this Unity Radiant Light, absolutely love it. And it didn't happen by accident. It happened by me understanding that this is my inheritance. This is what I can have in my life. And the teachings and the tools that we use for that, excuse me, we go back to Charles Fillmore, Unity co-founder. He says the law of spirit that we must be that which we would draw to us. If we would draw to us love, we must be love. Be loving and kind. If we would have peace and harmony in our environment, we must establish that within ourselves. So we have to understand us. And not only do we have to understand that prosperity is our inheritance, but we must be the things that we were asking for. So when people come to me a lot of times and they'll say, I want that relationship. I've been waiting forever. I want that. And it's not here yet. What can I do? The first thing I say is, make a list. Make a list of the things, the attributes that you want in that person. And then I tell them, now go become that if you're not. Because you can't ask for something that you are not. So we have to learn to use and during these tools to be that which we want. Charles Fillmore also said, deny that lack has any place or reality in your thoughts or affairs, and affirm plenty as the only appearance. Praise what you have, be it ever so little, and insist that it is constantly growing larger. The great Wayne Dyer said, fake it till you make it. Well, that's part of in this process. If you're seeing something in your life that you don't want in your reality, then we affirm it. We affirm it. We love it. If it's something with your health, we're not gonna pray for, especially with our prayer group. We don't pray for you to get better. We see you as you truly are, perfect, whole, and complete. If it's that job that you want, well, then you already have it. We see that. You have to see that. You have to feel it. You have to want it, because this isn't an intellectual game. We're working from our heart here. And in that, we have to go to our feelings. Do we feel worthy to achieve that? Do we believe that it could happen? Because if we have any resistance to that, that's what we're going to see. So really this week I asked you to review what your thoughts and your feelings are on these things. Do you feel worthy? You can look in the mirror and say, I am worthy. And if you feel yourself or see yourself flinch, that's a time to stop. Not berate yourself, but take a step back and say, okay, I need to do some work with this. I need to understand that I am worthy. I'm an expression of God. And what could be greater than that? We must learn to let go, give up, to make room for the things we have prayed for and desired. And I love this one quote from Charles Fillmore, because during time, especially when I felt like I was seeing scarcity in my life, the one thing that I could do, even if I couldn't do anything else, is I'd start to clean. I would go clean out that awful drawer that most of us have in our kitchen. And I would go clean it out, and I'd make room, and I'd get rid of the things that no longer served me. So even if it's one thing a day, if it's a closet, if it's a box, I'm going to just do one box today. We're making room, and we're showing it through that expression by clearing that box, that we have room for this in our lives. So many people will talk to me and say, I just want that. I want to have that relationship now. But they've built a life where they don't have time for it, that every moment of every day is filled. So if that person shows up, where are they going to fit into that? So to be that expression of prosperity, we have to make room for that. If we are having health challenges, but we treat our body like a dumpster, well, we have to really make room for that health by making some changes in our lives. And it's not about us putting ourselves down or anything like that, but it's about us just having more awareness of where we're at. So we think about this. Prosperity is our inheritance. What is your commitment to that, to the law of prosperity? You think about that as we start this series. Think about this week. I have a prosperous life, and I can honestly say I'm very happy. Sometimes I'm not. I have things that happen that can be disturbing, but I'm very happy in my life. But I know for sure that I want to take it a step further. My deepest desire is when I leave planet Earth this time, I want to leave it a little better than when I found it. And it may be in a small group of people, it may be broader scale, but that's my deepest desire. As was said, when you direct your faith, not only do your dreams come true, but they can come through in a big way, and we can use that to serve humanity. You do that to serve the planet, the Gaia. So what does this mean to you? It may mean something different for each person, and that's okay, because we are all different expressions of God. But what is your passion? What is your desire to create? And that's what it means to you. That's your niche. That's your thing to do. And when we can take these things that we do and do it collectively, we create positive change on this planet. We can make planet Earth a better place. That is the law of prosperity that we're talking about. We have the power to lift the whole world, but we have to do our work first, or plurk, or whatever you want to call it. We have to do that first. We have to understand what we are as an expression of God. We have to understand that we're talking about prosperity, that it's not about a system that some people can have it, some people don't. It's about us understanding this is our inheritance. This is my inheritance. This is your inheritance. Okay? So the beauty of this is it doesn't come from outside of us. It starts from within, and we have the power to change that. So when I began these teachings, I was at a place where prosperity wise, I was seeing that my things that I had that I considered to be important were fading. They were leaving. When I began to understand what prosperity is, yes, a lot of those things left, but the things that came after were so much better than I ever could have dreamed possible. I consider myself, I feel like I won the lottery every day when I can get up. And part of what I do is here at Unity Radiant Light, I get to experience these most beautiful, amazing souls. We get to pray together. We get to learn together. We get to be in fellowship together. And I don't know about you, but I don't really call that work. I also have a company where I'm serving the environment and helping to help public health crisis. And same thing, it feels good. I love what I do. So two things had to happen for me is I had to understand that I'm worthy of receiving all good and that prosperity is my inheritance. What are the things that you need to understand about yourself? Maybe when you take an inventory this week, just see what comes up. And let me be clear, we may not know how this is going to happen. You might have a dream and a passion and say, I have no idea how it's going to happen, but we don't have to. The one thing we have to do is set the intention that we will accomplish it. We have to claim it as part of our inheritance. And because of who and what we are, we're spiritual beings and having this human experience is an expression of God. Because of that, we have inherited the ability and the right to do this. So if this makes you nervous, think about it. I mean, think about the things when you arrived here on planet Earth. Did you know how to walk right away? No. Or at least I didn't. Did you know how to go through puberty? No, and God knows I don't want to do that anytime soon again. But these are the things that we learned, we grew into. We learned, we stretched our belief systems, we made changes. We got out of our comfort zone. And prosperity is the same thing. You may not be aware of some of these principles and you're just becoming aware of them now. But that's okay. You can stretch into it. So after spending 35 years as a Unity Truth student and a student of New Thought, this is what I know for sure. If I or you or anyone sets an intention, if we really believe it, 100%, not 50%, not 60%, or any number that's less than 100. But if we truly believe it, in our thoughts, our feelings, we speak it into our words, we will see it. And like with Hejda, I didn't see it for a couple of years, but I got my wish, I got my dream. And she's coming to live with me. Haji and Hejda gifts, part of the prosperity journey. I still don't know what I'm going to do about the names because Haji and Hejda, I got to work that out. But they are a perfect example of prosperity in action. Prosperity isn't just about money. Prosperity includes everything in our lives. And that's a beautiful thing. So as we continue and go forward in this prosperity series, I look forward to talking to you about your dreams, sharing stories with each other, and for us to grow together, for us to stretch beyond our comfort zone. I'm so glad to be on this journey with you. So grateful. So as part of this, we're going to move into meditation. And I invite you with your mics muted to say your meditation affirmation. I am open and receptive to the spirit of truth, healing me what needs to be healed and revealing to me what needs to be revealed. Just sit back. I have a short Unity film on it, and then we're going to go into meditation. I just invite you to take a nice deep breath in and release. As we take another deep breath in, all the way down and release. And on our next deep breath in, all the way down, we're filling up. Let's release the things that no longer serve us when we breathe out. Gently, gently. What is it we wish to clean today? It might be a drawer. It might be some thoughts. It might be something that you were resisting. Anything that keeps us from understanding that we are divine. As you say to yourself, I am divine. I am divine. Feel your cells light up in your body as you say that. I am divine. How does that feel? Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is within, which means the divinity from that lives inside of us. So as we come in a little bit deeper, we feel the energy from above all the way up through our 12th chakra and beyond, flowing in and from below, from Gaia, flowing up. We're giving and receiving the divinity that is from everywhere, everything. That is us. And as we go deeper, we're moving up that chakra system, back up to the 12th dimension. As we breathe in and then out, we're looking back from the great I am at our bodies. And look at those trillions of cells we've been talking about when we see them lit up. I'd like you just to look at yourself for a moment and those cells and really see the divinity within. I am divine. Prosperity has to be my inheritance. And look at this divinity. Be in awe of it, but know that it is you. And we look and see those cells in our body. How can we believe that we're separate from God, separate from each other? And God is good. God is good. So how can we believe that we are anything else or that anybody else is bad? We may get lost at times. We might fall asleep to who we really are. But you are amazing, magnificent expression, a magnificent expression of God. And as we move into the silence, just let that goodness, that Godness, that energy wash over you, envelop you, cocoon you in the silence. I claim my divinity. I claim prosperity as my inheritance. I am prosperous. And I claim this for everyone, knowing that this energy, this positivity will make the world a better place. But as we claim this, we do this with our health. We see every cell in our bodies perfect, whole, and complete. We claim it. Prosperity is in every area of our lives. There's no place that it is not. And with that comes that inner joy and peace that is so fulfilling. And we know this is all because of love. We are love. You are love. I am love. Because we are an expression of God, and God can only ever be love. And for this, we are so grateful. So we open the floor to prayer requests, holding the energy for those that are here and those who can't be with us. We see only good, only prosperity in every area of their lives. I'd like to hold a special prayer this morning for Reverend Kathleen's brother, from Reverend Kathleen and her family at this time. We see them enveloped in love and peace. And the floor is open for any additional prayer requests you may have. You can hold them silent in your heart too. So we hold each person in our lives on this planet, seeing them as they truly are, an expression of God, holding only the best, holding the best for this world, taking this collective energy and sending it out to the world, sending that ripples of love, which are felt everywhere. We're so grateful for these teachings, for Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, brought these teachings to us and all the great teachers and masters, and for Jesus, our way shower, who lived the prosperity principles. We say thank you, and so it is.